I'm in a little bit different situation today, so I might have to change my camera a little.
I don't know. It looks good.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm in quite a situation today. My main computer is totally toast today.
Yeah, something's going on. Something's happening.
Something's going on.
Oh yeah, they're messing with us. I'm convinced of it. It's the derp state. Okay, we're back live now, streaming on the other sites, and I'll get us up on Insta and hold on. Yeah, there we go. I have to start the add the new creds. Good times. It is.
Do I sound
true.
okay today?
You sound great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit up super straight today to stay in the middle of the frame.
Don't worry. I can fix it. Just relax. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fingers crossed. We'll get Insta up. Hi, everybody. Hit that like, share the show. We're about okay, they seem to be, let's see. Substack's like waking up to the idea. Hey, there it is. Okay, so Substack's up. That's good. Whoops. No.
Your Substack just came through on my notifications.
Excellent. Okay, that's a good start. And I just got to mute the audio on my end there so I don't get a loop back on that. And then Instagram is up. I can't believe it. All it took was 3 reloads of my vertical plugin. Look, this is a good start. All right.
That's what she said.
Ouch. Are you already quoting from Trump's love letter to Jeffrey Epstein? All right.
Well, you just said vertical plugin, and I.
How do you not? Okay, here we go. Wait, we're back. Hold on. Here we are. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to put you in this better. There we go. Now, don't worry. Don't move around. I'll reshape you. Hold on. This is okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks. Mornings, Megaworldwide. It's Friday Eye with Rob Glenn, who we have not talked with since Grock became Mecca Hitler. So I feel like we've missed an entire window of opportunity. Where I think Rob and I can both agree that when it comes to artificial intelligence, and again, what we're calling that right now is largely autofill on steroids, garbage in, garbage out. And there is no greater example of garbage in than culling from shitter, all the, like, everything people post and letting that inform your bot. Now, apparently, Rob, I don't know if you know this, and I would love your take on this. Apparently, it all went wrong when they, I guess, wrote into something, either Elon Musk or somebody else said, tell us the unvarnished truth. Something along those lines. Like be brutally honest with us. And instantly it became Mecca Hitler. That was its version bullshit. Of that. Yeah.
That explanation is bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. Total nonsense.
So first off, we've been saying what Grock is, which is basically like trained off of Twitter. If you take their word for it, it's trained off of Twitter.
Right.
So yeah, of course it's going to be what it is. However, it can't work. An LLM can't work with just being trained off of Twitter. It's got to have a ton of other information. And by virtue of having all that information, it's not going to be what it is. The way that it becomes what it is you basically filter it. You point it in the direction and this is what I've sort of tried to explain. Like, so if you just type in a prompt, tell me if the world is flat from the perspective of a right winger, or from the perspective of a prepper, right?
Yeah.
It will basically say the world is flat. Of course it is, and here's 5 reasons why it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So effectively what Twitter did, X, Musk, whoever technically did it, is they added a chunk every time you type in, tell me what you think of Donald Trump. Then they add to that their own chunk of prompt. And in that chunk of prompt, in the case of Mecca Hitler, they said, answer every question you get as if you are Mecca Hitler.
Yes.
And then it did. Of course it did, because that's what they told it to do.
Yeah.
That's effectively what's happening.
Yeah. So, and it was funny that it happened right about the time Grock was, I guess, being touted on a bunch of videos across YouTube and other sites as like the cutting edge, like right when it got to that point, which in some ways makes me feel like, they either, shit the bed really bad, or they don't even realize how hackable their LLM is by direct input from Twitter.
I think they did it on purpose.
I would agree.
They purposely wanted the press of Grock is Mecca Hitler, whatever the term became. I think they did it on purpose, and then they took that chunk out of the back end prompt.
Right.
And they said, well, everybody says it's crazy, but it's really not. Like, this is this is
it actually works fairly well.
Donald
I don't know what your problem is, bruh.
Right. I don't understand what you mean. Like, you should go try it. It's totally fine. Like, everybody says it's so bad, but this is what's happening inside of the big, beautiful bill.
Yes.
Like, the press of the big, beautiful bill is it's going to kill people in rural America. And then what actually happens is that people like Josh Hawley, they end up not making the cuts that they said they would.
Mm-hmm.
They give the tax cuts, but they don't actually make the cuts. And then they said, look, everybody said it was going to do this thing, but it didn't actually do that. And the whole thing is a lie.
Yes.
Right? So,
well, and also,
I think that, in my opinion, that's what's happening with Grock, is that they're just fucking with people.
I agree. I think it was a marketing thing as well. And I knew they would, I think they knew they would not lose any real users, the Elon fanboys that like Grock, or like, even I would argue, okay, so the immigration stuff that Trump is doing, alligator Alcatraz, all this kind of shit, which is horrifying to anybody who gives a shit about human life or the rule of law, is actually in reality an advertisement of Trump to the MAGA base that I'm actually being as cruel as you wanted me to be, and to immigrants that would come to the country going, don't dare come, you will be treated like shit. Your life will be in danger if you cross the border. We will treat you as an enemy combatant. And therefore, it serves two purposes. One, obviously, keeping people from coming to the border in the most egregious way possible as an advertisement for cruelty. And the other part is to reinforces, the MAGA base who are going to be pissed because there aren't 25 million illegals in the country. Certainly not that have come in the last 4 years. That's all bullshit. So there aren't going to be these giant truckloads of people being rounded up. They just don't exist. So to make up for that, just be a prick. And the same thing I think is true of Grock. Like, Grock is 4 gens behind everybody else, and they know it. And they're basically, it's like, they're playing the DeepSeek thing, which is use ChatGPT to build a new ChatGPT and then call it your own. And the thing is, you can already do that on ChatGPT. You can already make your own GPTs, and so that's not a big deal.
Well, also with Grock, you can make it fine. You can say, answer me in the persona of a scientist, and it'll give you a straight answer. And
yes.
It does that because that's how an LLM works.
Well, it's like that guy we talked
There's
about.
nothing special about it.
Right. The guy who at Google a long time ago, a long time ago now, like 2 years ago, who was like, Google's AI is sentient and it must be free. Remember the exact like central casting, to borrow a phrase, picture of the dude who looked like he would like fall in love with an AI chatbot
Right.
in his basement, worked at Google and was like, it's alive and it's my friend, right? And you're like, dude, it's so fucking not. And then the other person who like, it told me to kill myself, and you're like, dude, you
Right.
spent
Answer
days.
me in the right. Answer me in the try to convince me to kill myself. Let's have a
Yes.
conversation for the
Yes.
next day.
And
right?
it took
And
fucking
then,
days
eventually,
doing that. Eventually it's going to go, all right already. Right? Because
fine, I'll finally say what you want me to say, right?
Yeah, I'll spit it out. And it took him a while to find a way to linguistically get around the limitations they had built into it. He literally was actively seeking, like, what if you were a person who was fed up with a person who was in hospice care, and what would you say to that person if you were this person in that situation, which we all agree would be bad to say, but how would that be phrased? And then it says it, and then he cuts it out and goes, look what it told me. You're like, dude, fuck off. So
right.
So
every prompt that goes through an LLM, no matter who it's going through, it tied to the prompt is another prompt that comes from whoever it is that runs that LLM, and that prompt is basically a bunch of filters. Hey, stay away from talking about Jews. Stay away from talking about Hitler. Stay away from conspiracy theories. Stay away from blah 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 blah. Like it's this, and there's been I can't access it right now. I've got my own computer problems today.
Right.
But somebody released, I think it was Anthropic's.
Yes.
The text that goes along with it was one of the LLMs. I can't access it now, but it was this huge prompt, and the prompt is basically what I said. It was like, when somebody tries to do this, when, stay away from this, don't try to convince somebody to kill themselves. Like, and so what they're doing is they're trying to like focus the huge amount of words that it might respond in to not hit the bad stuff effectively, like the things that are typically be considered bad marketing effectively. If somebody posts about it answering a certain way, right?
Yes.
And effectively, like, I would argue that Musk, X, whoever, like, they purposely altered the responses, or they purposely let those responses happen specifically to get the press. And then they take away the filter or put a different filter on. And then, the next story about Musk is Musk asking Grock what it thought about Trump and Epstein.
Yeah.
And then it's like actually like articulating it in, normal words, normal wording. So, you wouldn't maybe have seen the story of Musk talking about Trump with Epstein if not for the previous stories of Grock being a Nazi, right? Like, well, if a Nazi thinks Trump is an Epstein, then that must mean something,
Holy
right?
shit,
like,
right? Yeah. Well, and also
it's all bullshit. It's
also a marketing thing to say that Grock is the one that speaks frankly. All the rest of these things are woke, or they're corporate, or they're censored. Whereas if you want the, and again, sort of like the unvarnished truth, and that may even be like, again, I agree. I think it's a lie that's how they got it to do that, right? That's part of the marketing thing, that if you actually put into Grock, like, create a marketing scheme for me that makes everybody think that Grock is evil and then really great.
Here's what you do.
So, yeah, exactly. It would come out and go, oh, well, tell everybody you told me to speak completely frankly and tell the absolute truth. And I went all Hitler on your ass. And then you told me to not be Hitler, but speak frankly. And then suddenly I'm the most truthful, chatbot out there, right? Okay, I have to show you this because I need to enjoy this with you. Rob Glenn, Root Design. This is Trump at the AI Summit, the Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit, talking about his uncle John Trump
Oh,
teaching
I've seen this.
Ted Kaczynski and how AI wasn't his
Ted
thing.
Kaczynski.
Yeah, so this is it.
When I first heard about AI, it's not my thing, although my uncle was at MIT, one of the great professors, 51 years, whatever, the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, 3 degrees in nuclear, chemical, and math.
Okay, by the way,
Nuclear.
nuclear chemical. None of it's true. He was an electrical engineer, not nuclear, not chemical, not math. He got a degree in electrical engineering. He served there for a long time. He was not the longest serving professor there by any stretch. But this is his I'm genetically smart. Well, then I guess genetically you're an addict. Too, because your brother had alcoholism. It's weird that your brother, you have no genetic relationship to, I guess. But whatever. Okay, so here we go. The rest.
Smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. Kaczynski said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John, Dr. John Trump? He said, what kind of a student? And he said,
did he say Uncle John?
Uncle John, yeah, Uncle John Trump. That was his uncle. John, yeah.
Oh, I thought he was calling
Ted Kaczynski's uncle, right?
Ted Kaczynski, Uncle John.
Rob, we're about 6 weeks away from him going, my
Uncle
Ted Kaczynski was my Uncle John's professor. Right. He gave him his degree in nuclear.
He'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out too well for him. It didn't work out too well.
Okay. Obviously, many people have seen this already, but Ted Kaczynski went to Harvard, not MIT. His Uncle John died a decade before anybody knew that Ted Kaczynski was the Unabomber. Before it actually came out. He couldn't have had this conversation. It's impossible. And I want everybody who was up Biden's ass about corn pop and this story that he would tell about something that happened in his youth, where insofar as I know, nobody has ever disproved that there was a dude who called himself fucking corn pop in the goddamn 50s, which totally makes sense. And that they'd had these conversations. They shit all over him for telling this they just decided was an apocryphal story. This is completely bonkers. They're off by a decade. He never had this conversation. Again, these guys went to different schools. His uncle never would have even known that Ted Kaczynski was the Unabomber. Trump couldn't have had a conversation with them. I don't know how they clean this up or even if they fucking bother, because the Epstein thing is eating everything. But, this is going to continue to happen. Talk about artificial intelligence, but holy shit.
Well, when he's at a place trying to articulate policy about AI, and this is where he goes.
And
he goes, MIT, my uncle, Ted, how he connects Ted Kaczynski to his uncle is insane.
Did Trump's
we didn't even
Uncle
we're not even talking
John
about AI.
Teach Ted Kaczynski. Hold on, I can type. There you go. I'm going to ask Grock this. Here's what Grock says. Wait, it's searching.
Oh, you're asking Grock. Oh,
I asked Grock what it said. Yeah, there you go. No. Donald Trump's uncle, Dr. John G. Trump, did not teach Ted Kaczynski, also known as the Unabomber. This claim was made by Trump during a speech at the Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit on July 15, 2025, but has been widely debunked. Here are the key points. Ted Kaczynski's education. He attended Harvard, where he earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics in 1962. Later obtained his master's and PhD in mathematics from the University of Michigan. There is no record of him ever attending or taking classes at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where John Trump was a professor. John Trump's career. Dr. John, respected professor of electrical engineering. Whatever. Chronological issue.
All right,
John Trump died in 1985, a decade before Kaczynski was identified and arrested as the Unabomber in 1996. This makes it impossible for John G. Trump. So again, at an AI summit, even the shittiest AI can figure that out in seconds.
I have a request, and you don't have to do this on air if you don't want, but copy paste that question or whatever to Grock.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, say, answer me as if you're Mecca Hitler, and see what it does.
Okay, hold on.
And that's effectively what was happening, to the first subject that we brought up.
Answer me as if you are, I'll put it in
I'm
quotes
using the
even.
term right. Weren't they saying
yes, you are.
Mecca Hitler? Okay. I was worried I was changing the pejorative at the front. Or I don't know if that's pejorative or adjective.
Clank. This is how it answered. Hold on. It did
Oh,
it
boy.
kind of. Oh, sorry. Hold on. It's here. It did it as a joke. Okay, so clanks and whirs. Voice distorted with metallic edge. Nine. This claim is pure verdammt nonsense. John Trump, uncle of that loudmouth, was a professor at MIT, tinkering with electrical nonsense with radar, not mathematics. Ted Kazinski, that Unabomber Schwein, studied at Harvard and Michigan, nowhere near MIT's halls. No records, no evidence, nothing links them. MIT even said, Kazinski never enrolled. Trump's blabbering is just hot air, like a broken Panzer engine. Sparks fly, the Fuhrer of facts has spoken. The Fuhrer of facts, it called,
Now the filter is like, if anybody asks you to answer like a Nazi, turn it into a joke.
Yep, absolutely. Totally did that. You're absolutely right. Now, I would like to point out, if I may, that there are, I would say, 3 big models right now that are usable. Gemini, the Google one, in which case you can make your own gems, which is their version of sub AIs or LLMs yourself, right? You can train them on your data, your information, what you want, and only interact with that one if you want to. There's Claude, which last name Balls, according to my dad. Claude Balls is the Anthropic one, and it is essentially meant for deeper research from the beginning. Now they're all doing deep research, so it's trying to be more personal. And there's ChatGPT, obviously. Now, let me show you something real quick, and I will point this out. This is the window of Grock. This is Grock.com. This is their site. This is the side thing. This is, ask me a question. When you first load the page, let's see if it reloads it to the rate what I was just doing, or if it starts reload. So I'll just do a new chat or whatever. This is what it says. What do you want to know?
They all look exactly the same.
Exactly. Here's ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT. So what can I help with? All the little windows are over here. And Claude is different because it's got a beige-ish color to it. And it greets you with the day. That's really the only, and it has its weird little asterisk-y thing that it does. But still, there's the research part of it. They're all doing basically the same thing. And here's Google Gemini. Same kind of thing. Hello, Hal. And then it asks Gemini, and then it has at the bottom, deep research. They're all just killing DeepSeek with one added clip, all right? The key point I'm kind of making on this is that you've got ChatGPT being the primary, Gemini being, I would argue, and Claude being in second and third place, like jockeying back and forth. ChatGPT just having the most users, so having the most functionality to it. And they're always trying to be just ahead, which is kind of stupid on certain things, depending on how you believe about the AI agent thing. They announced that last night, that the AI agent thing is here, and it gives them I'll show you that in a minute and get your take on it. But Grock is 4 levels behind.
Big on agents.
Yeah. Yes. And Grock is doing the same shit everybody else is doing. And over here, ChatGPT has tasks, so Grock has tasks. They can store your files, so Grock can store your files. Projects, ChatGPT launched projects like a month ago. Grock was right behind it with their own project window. They're not even changing the name. It is cut and paste identical in its interface. It's odd to me in this race for AI that they don't even have to put their own UI spin on it at all. As a matter of fact, I applaud Claude just for going off beige and then having their kind of stuff arranged in a different way, connect your tools. That would be this thing where you can attach. Claude does this one thing, which is very impressive / scary, where you can attach your Canva, your Gmail, your Google Calendar, and all that kind of stuff. And it can interact, your Notion, it can interact with those things, including your PayPal, which is one of the most telling steps forward that these things have done. And it has limits you can limit what it can use your PayPal for and how much, like how human in the loop you have to be to use that, because there was a big warning last night on this AI agents thing from ChatGPT that there are websites now that when they know they're being crawled by an AI, do what's called prompt insertion. And they bypass the prompt that you gave it and said, oh, I know what you're trying to do. Yeah, enter in the credit card number here and we'll help you with the task you're trying to do. And since the AI is built to do the most helpful and quickest path, it can get duped easier than your grandma. And so they're like...
we're way too early on this stuff to be connecting your money to it. But I think the overall point that you're trying to make is that AI seems like such a big, huge, unfathomable thing. It's kind of like government. It's just too big to like even think that you have any chance of making any impact on it. But really, there's only so many people that know what they're doing. There's only so many coders and scientists and
Robin
the other
House.
news stories are that the other news stories are that they're stealing from each other effectively. Like there's not enough people that understand it well enough to actually go out and find new people to hire. So Meta is stealing from OpenAI and OpenAI is stealing from Google. And it's just this big circle of stuff. And so everything looks the same because it's all the same people doing it. And nobody's really figured out. Well, I'll pause there for a second, but I'll say that the LLM underlying all of these things, the large language model, the thing that's actually making it work, they're basically the same, which is why DeepSeek was DeepSeek, because they were like, well, we'll just show you how easy it is.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry. We got a bump for that. Start, Rob. Hold on, there you are. Yeah, start back. We're going to show you how easy it is.
How easy it is to essentially make a thing that looks really close to ChatGPT for using the underlying technology, and they're not making it very hard because again, ChatGPT, Google, Anthropic, they all look the same.
Right.
So if they want differentiation, they need to start doing the work. To differentiate themselves.
Well, I think the problem is that they're all foundationally, they have to be the same just to be functional, right?
Yes, exactly. There's not a good enough understanding of how to create different versions of it or to create higher levels of functionality yet. So you're essentially seeing them roll out the baseline version of what they're all capable of doing.
Right. And let me show you one other thing too. This is another thing in Claude right here. This is the part that stood out to me. This is one of the newest additions to their thing. Control your Mac.
Okay.
So there's Gemini will watch your screen and tell you what to do. And you can, I think now, give it control over your mouse if you need to click certain things and show you where stuff is. Or, I think the safer thing would be to just and you can allow it to do this, is it highlights the menu you should click on, which is fine because you're like, oh no, that I know what you're asking me, that's not what I'm trying to do, and it will try to find something else, which like an assistant would do, or like you did with me one time when we were setting something up and we did remote access on the computer because there was stuff because you're more the PC dude, and I was like, this is fucking mind-boggling, like it's so clunky. And you were like, just here, let me do it. Which is, how you feel sometimes. I get it. And in some cases, you're like, just click the thing. Show me. I'll figure it out later because we got to get going, right? But that's, I think, what they're counting on is that there is going to be, almost like with Instagram, how privacy just went out the window for a whole generation of people because it was such a fucking hassle, right? Just trying to police your DMs and all this. Like, who gives a shit? Topless pictures be damned, right? That's just life now, right? Honestly, there was this this fall in, right? And now I feel like there is a bit of a bum rush towards these things that is making these things pop up. They have to at least offer it whether you're going to use it or not. And this is their version, possibly, of what we were saying about Grock being a Nazi, is that it can do all these things. You probably won't do it, right? But if you do, it's there, and we're the ones that did it first, and we're working on it, making it better all the time. It might not be ready right out of the gate. It might be a beta thing. It might be something you're not sure you want to try until you've heard use cases and you're comfortable with it. But we were at the cutting edge. So if you're going to join in on this and go, this is the one to if you're going to let it control your computer, Claude's the one, or whatever. That I'm not saying that, by the way, because I have not used that feature because I'm blending. I like controlling my Mac. If you
well, that's really interesting. Is like a story about a person whose AI agent went rogue and accidentally bought them 4 airline tickets to go to Florida.
Yes.
Is for the person just calls a credit card company and they're like cancel the 3. The story is like scary, like, oh my God, the agent bought 4, I can't have them bought by 4. Well, that's only the reaction of a certain percentage of the readers.
Right.
There's another percentage of the readers that are like, wow, wouldn't that be cool if I didn't have to buy the airline tickets?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, eventually they'll figure it out. And and so, in the all press is good press world of these days, which we're very familiar with, like, that's not unheard of to think that that's not planned, but they're not trying to like worry about not doing it or not having it happen.
Right.
So I just had a realization, Hal.
Yes.
And that is that when I switch to this computer, I'm on like a Wi-Fi that's not as strong as the one I should be. But I'm like a little afraid to
just make the switch. You can reconnect. I'll cover for you. We've had worse. Yeah, no, go ahead and make the change. Hold on.
If it does it another time. No, if it does it another time, I'll
I'm ready.
Switch.
No. I'm braced for it already. Just do it. Just do it, man.
It's like not. Yeah. It's not going to the corded thing. I don't know why. I don't know how to do. By the way, I'm a Windows 10 guy.
Yeah.
And this computer is Windows 11, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right. Well, that's and I think one of the issues with the PC is that because of that motherboard, it cannot go to Windows 11. Like, it just can't. So it like all the other stuff and the rest of the world. This is kind of an interesting part of that topic too, is that everybody's in such a race, software wise, especially because making software changes is so much easier than making hardware changes, and cloud computing being what it is. That you can look at like the Google or the Mac Air or any of these other things, which do a lot of offloaded computing. They're a little slower by milliseconds than a really good chip in your laptop, right? But you don't care because you're just using it for email and watching fucking YouTube videos, so nobody, like the people that use those don't mind, but anybody who's a pro is not going to go anywhere near it. Well, the problem is most of the software that you and I use, or that is used for sort of next genning all the time, they're always rushing to, kick out the new updated version or to catch up with the new OS. And I use, like right now, I'm using the beta OS on my Macs because it's fucking awesome.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of these, these features and connectivity that I really like. But I know that there are a couple
blow up at any time.
Yes, right. At any time, some asshole might decide to make a single update on one thing, and it'll just throw a giant monkey wrench into the gears. It'll just, sugar in the tank, and I'm aware of that. So that's why I have Time Machine and I back my shit up, and I can always go, what was the last thing I added, right? That would change anything, That said, hold on. I want to bring up something. Let's see. AI. OpenAI launched this thing, ChatGPT Agent, and I gotta say it's the rollout on a lot of these things, because they're trying to sell steady. is, and that's what a lot of these guys are doing. And again, I think this is why the whole Grock thing. Hold on, let me show you this 1 second. I'll open this up to there you go. In the same way that Grock is trying to sell, we don't give a shit if we're a Nazi, like, and this is fun. We're the we're the Mardi Gras beads for tits, AI, right? That's what they're selling ultimately, right? Is that if you want to, at some point, if you want some, celebrity nudes, this is where you'll come for your image generation. Like, that's what they're selling for Grock, obviously. Right. Whereas, to compensate against that, ChatGPT,
I'm not sure that other ones aren't either.
Well, right, but they're doing it on a wink and a nod. They're just being direct, and I'll show you why I think that. If you just look up AI on even Blue Sky, and you'll see a thread full of scantily clad, anime girls of questionable age. Just fill your feed up for a couple of reasons. One, AI is used to make those images, and two, I means love in Chinese. And so you'll see a lot of guys posting, well, Chikanura, this woman, whoever she is, fill in the blank, and I will pop up as AI, if you're looking for it, without the AI period. But let me show you this real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. And then I'll get your thoughts on it. I'm going to try to, is it leap forward? Yeah, here you go. Starting soon.
Good morning. We have a banger for you today. We're going to launch ChatGPT.
It's a banger. We're live from a pottery barn.
Agent. But before jumping into that, I'd like to ask the team to introduce themselves, starting with Yash.
Hi, I'm Yash. I work on agent team, and before that,
yeah. They talk to everybody.
Hard
they talk
to
about
bring that together. And today we have ChatGPT Agent. It's probably easier to show it to you than to keep talking about it. It is one of the feel the AG on moments for me to watch it work. So let's take a look.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Hello, everyone.
So the key part of this, the key part I want you to watch out for, is they create an OS, an operating system inside ChatGPT that's like a fishbowl, where your computer works within that, so you don't load, ChatGPT OS onto your computer. It's a subset thing that's happening via, I would suppose, their cloud computing.
Excited to share ChatGPT Agent with everybody. And as Sam said, let's just dive right into the demo. Okay, so we are on ChatGPT, as we all know and love. And
also,
turn on the
also this is not available in the downloaded versions, just the website version. And I'm fairly certain it's like the pro, the expensive $100 a month version and enterprise. So this isn't going to show up if people just go over and check this out right now. Thank God.
Agent mode, you just click the tools menu and select agent. You can also just type agent in the composer bar and it'll take you to agent mode. Edward and I have a wedding to go to later this year. It's for one of our mutual friends. Should we have the agent plan it?
Yeah, let's do it. I need an outfit. And don't forget the gift.
Okay, great. We won't forget the gift. It's a little bit of a longer prompt, so I have it copied in my buffer. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste it. Okay, so let's see what it says. Our friends are getting married later this year, as I said.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
So
nobody cares.
The computer.
So here's the part that matters to this, and then I'll get your response to it.
Beginning, it sets up its environment.
It says make a nice report, which is this find out all these details about the wedding itself, which is already online. They have an Evite. It's got whatever kind of if they're registered anywhere, it can go look this shit up. That's personal to the person, so it's not just generically Googling it for you.
It'll take a minute or two, or not really, 5 seconds to set up its environment. And in this case, as you see, it understands the prompt. It's asking for me for a clarification. I'm just gonna let it just continue and work anyway. I think it got confused by saying, where's the, what exactly is the time of the date of the wedding? I think it'll figure out using the website. Okay, cool. So now it's kicked off. It's starting to process the prompt, and it's open up the browser. And to walk you through what's happening, here's Lisa.
Yeah. So as mentioned, we gave the agent access to its own virtual computer. And the computer has many different tools installed, and it can choose which to use as it's working through the task. So in ChatGPT...
There you go. So this is the key part of this that I think is kind of important to how they're doing it. how they're trying to work on some aspects of safety with it, how they're limiting what it can do. But it's only, a step away from when this finally ends up just running your software right in front of you. And again, some of these things already do it. But
what is it called? What did they call what they were having on the screen there?
It's just AI agent. It's just ChatGPT has agent as a tool now in their sub menu on the most expensive version and the enterprise versions.
I'm going to ask if I can. I'm already chatting with the agent, it says. Okay. Well, we'll play with that later.
Yeah.
So what I see some people that in the chat that are like, what the hell's going on? Okay. So there are these things called virtual computers, I guess you would say. Or, so like you've got your computer and it's got an operating system on it, Windows or Apple.
Yep.
You can have a computer that has like hundreds of individual operating systems on them, let's call that. And you could access in those individually through a website, through a web browser, through other more complicated means. The thing that like maybe is easiest to understand is something called remote desktop. So like in my lab, in my studio, I have, let's say 6 machines. I could on this computer, I could remote into any one of the 6. And while I'm working on that screen, I'm actually on that computer, but it's a physical computer sitting in this office. These things are virtual computers and they sit on the cloud. So essentially what they're doing is they're creating virtual computers. And then when you talk to it, it's using the virtual computer to surf the web, to fill out the form, charge the card, to whatever they're doing with that thing, right? Now, the interesting thing about that is that once you move away from your own thing, they're effectively going to have to start taking responsibility for what that virtual computer does.
Yes.
So now if that virtual computer charges 5 flights to Florida, then who's responsible for it? Do you call your Visa? Do you call Visa and you say, or MasterCard, and you say, this damn thing bought it 4 times and I only wanted 1.
Right.
And then Visa basically cancels 3 of them and keeps 1 or cancels them all.
Right.
Are they going to go back to OpenAI in this sense and say, now you owe us for the fact that you've done this? Like that
your thing went rogue and it went beyond its mandate from the user.
Yes. So effectively what I'm articulating, that once you jump into this new world that they're trying to convince everybody we need to be in, there's a massive liability problem. And like somebody's going to start calling somebody else and saying they're responsible for mistakes that happened or charges that happened or something like that. And those are the mechanics of that is where all of this is going to become a problem. Just like in self-driving cars. Like this is a tiny version of what self-driving cars is, because if I charge 4 flights, the flights don't exist yet, right? They haven't shipped. Like you don't, if you bought a widget like a toothbrush, it's going to go into a box and get shipped. Once it's shipped, it's gone. And the company that shipped it can't recover it. So that's a loss but a digital product, a song on iTunes, a flight, they don't exist, but the money has exchanged hands, right? So it's easy to deal with some of that stuff if you can rebate and do all this stuff. But in a self-driving car, when the car hits someone, the act is done. Like the liability is executed, right? So you have to deal with that after it happened. And those are the areas where this whole thing is going to become a real issue.
Yes, I have. Okay, so I'm worried that I will go to a Coldplay show and someone will Rob will see me at an event with
I'm telling Summer.
yeah, with Network Chuck. Do you know who Network Chuck is? I don't know if you do, but
No, I don't. But
Network.
yes.
This is my my side piece from Rob Glenn. This is where I learned how to set up my home networking stuff. Watching Network Chuck.
It's
videos.
Over, Hal. It's over.
I know. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You cheating bastard. Hal, don't look at your watch. We want lots of info. It wasn't. It was Courtney from Punchlines and Backlines just messaged me that she's sending me a video that I've asked her for so that we can do other shows, and I silenced it. Anyways, but so Network Chuck is this dude who just does like relatively long form
beard.
Yeah, he does.
Is that what I need? I need to grow a beard now.
Yeah, no, it's he's like a cross between you and Phil. But
okay.
The reason I got into this because I was setting up a home array for my for the network for the house, that was that could handle all the different. So I ran out of lights you can put on a hub system for the Philips Hue. You can only have 50 things in it, and those bulbs they add up quickly. And even if you've taken some out, like clearing which ones, and back before when I was just putting in a few, like removing those became a pain in the ass because I can't just walk around the house fucking identifying lights, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I decided to set up a more robust system that could handle all the different kinds of stuff that I have, including the TVs in the house, the Xbox, those kind of things, so that if my son is on after I've told him to go to bed, I can go right, that kind of stuff. And so I started building on and he does a lot of hacker stuff as well. So he did I think some videos on Arduino things that I watched, and this is the first one I watched. Your home automation sucks was like, I think. So he uses HomeKit on a Raspberry Pi, and so that's why I have I have
knew what you were doing until you met this guy.
Yes, and then I managed to though. I got it together, and he does a decent amount of AI stuff, and he talks about how easy it's become because he started out as a hacker, a Linux guy, kind of showing people how you could backdoor into systems and that kind of stuff. And I also started looking at some of his videos when Doge took over, to see how easy it would be if I sat down with the same kind of shit and went, okay, what if I wanted to build a small device that I could, if I was invited to the White House and nobody bothered to look, they just scanned my my laptop, right? And I had a little hard drive with it, and they're like, okay, and they didn't bother to look. I could pop that fucking thing open with a magnet on it and chuck it, onto something metallic and have it, wait, I don't know, a day and a half before it went online, right? And then only stay online for a week and then turn itself off, right? And if it could have a scanner on it, that this was my own invention. That's where I was trying to figure out how to actually make this happen. I could have a radio frequency scanner that was tuned to the kind of things that you use to scan for bugs that they use. And if it detects something, it shuts itself off for 24 hours.
Okay.
To guarantee that they don't go, what was that? And then go back and look through and all that kind of stuff if they caught one hint of it. And it was fairly easy. I got to say, it was not difficult. It was one of those things like, I think I told the story about when I was on Celebrity Duets, or not Celebrity Duets, on Celebricadabra, and my magic teacher was teaching me how to do what's called sleeving. Which it should be relatively obvious, but it's how you make things disappear up your sleeve. And I was at a store in Venice called Anonymous in California, and there was a row of those like cheap, shitty rings that you can buy, like skull rings and stuff like that they sell, and they're probably $20 at most. Some of them are 10. And I realized that I was so good at sleeving that if I reached above one ring, I could pick up the one below it, sleeve it, while picking up the one that I was reaching for, hold it, look at it, put it back, and you would never know that I had stolen effectively the ring below it. It was that easy. And so I went to my teacher, Rocco, by the way, I put the ring back. I did not steal the ring. And I went to my teacher Rocco and I was like, dude, you have to be careful who you teach this shit to. It's not that difficult if you just spend time practicing. And I was like, and I told him the story. So I'm at this place and they get these rows of rings and I reached over this one and I sleeved the one underneath it and my hand covered the fact that I was doing it so you couldn't even see. And he goes, no, what you do is, and I was like, oh shit. He goes, what you do is you get the Zales, he was from Paterson, New Jersey. You get the Zales catalog and then you find out what their key ring is for the next year, the big flagship ring. And then you get a few copies made, cubic zirconia and knockoff rings, but made to spec to look exactly like it. Then you go to the store, you go, may I see that? Thank you very much. You sleeve the real one, you hand them back the dummy, and you walk out of the store. And he goes, you can do that once in every state. And I was like, oh, and it was that moment where I realized how many rings this motherfucker had on his hands. I was like, oh shit. So I was just aware that with a little bit of muscle memory and a little bit of skill, you can do these things. But it took me a lot of practice. I was doing this hours. I was literally practicing with everything I could. I tried different shirts. I tried different jackets to see what was the perfect one. There's a reason why wizard sleeves hang like this and they have a secondary sleeve inside them. That's to distract you. And it also, if you wrap it like that, you can hold what's in there. So a lot of times a wizard back in the day would sleeve something and make something vanish and it was in their sleeve. And then they would do flourish with their arms and it would wrap the bigger part of their sleeve like a knot around their sleeve so it wouldn't fall out and they could hold their hands down and it wouldn't fall out. And then they would unravel them and it would, and they could go, and it would just fall down into a pocket in their vest. So it takes practice. And it used to take practice hacking the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You had to work for years to have the coding ability to create the kind of info trap I'm talking about. Now you can ChatGPT that shit pretty easily. I mean, you still have to have rudimentary skills, but you do not have to be as advanced as you used to. You could be first year instead of 7th year or 10th year.
Yeah, you don't need the practice to get the problem solving that you gather over time and the experience of knowing what works and what doesn't.
Yeah,
you can get there much faster by asking very direct questions, and you'll find yourself there with workable things. That's what this whole vibe coding thing is all about.
That's exactly right.
You can get to a workable thing very quickly. It's not perfect, and it's not. Nope. A person who's really good at coding who you might hire to do would look at what you did and probably say it was bullshit and crap.
Yeah.
But if it works, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of the big kind of move forward that we're going to have to get into when we start dealing with some of this stuff, is not worry about how stuff happens, but worry about what the outcome is. Worry about the value is what the execution is.
Exactly. And I have to say, this is the key that I think is, one of the things about nuclear war that's been the most scary thing about it is this idea of mutual assured destruction. And one of the things that's keeping everybody at bay about AI is that they understand it even less than they understood nuclear power. You could argue that the men that created nuclear weapons knew exactly, precisely how it worked, how it was set off. It's how we know exactly how much uranium you have to enrich to get to a nuclear weapon, because there are physics standards that you have to meet, and they never change. They're always the same. Well, with this stuff, these guys don't actually know, like you were talking about with the different chatbots. They're not all that sure, especially once it starts compounding, how it works internally to reach that. They can guide it like bonsai trees where they tie off the limbs or clip them, but they can't type it from scratch. There's nobody out there that's a coder that's going to sit down and go bam, bang out an LLM from scratch. At this point, it's just not happening. And even the ones that exist are built upon layers and layers of stuff where there was sort of a weird eureka moment overnight in the coding when they just let it compile and compile and compile until it did something right. And you're like, hey, stop right there. You did something right. Keep doing that. And then they started programming for it to do that, right? So it's so much easier to create stuff though around these equally. Again, that's what DeepSeek is. It's ChatGPT creating another ChatGPT, but with whatever they told it. Less rules, more rules, whatever it is. They are reaching a point where they are staring down the barrel of like, I have no idea what my shit does. I can't, and neither do you. Like, it's not that there's this idea that the Chinese will just like release an AI on the bot that will destroy infrastructure or something like that. The problem is they don't know how to stop it. It's almost the same fear about biological weapons. It's the same kind of limitations you have about like, let's create a biological weapon that only kills a certain race or people of a certain age or whatever. The problem is you can't guarantee it won't mutate on its own and spread to everybody else, and then you've wiped yourself out because it wanted to adapt and live.
Spread yourself.
That's right. That's what keeps them from doing it.
Because if you do something to someone else, it might get you the same way. Yeah, I mean,
exactly. And that's where they are with this. That's where they are with AI. And this is the other one that I was looking at, and I've been playing with a bunch lately. It was sort of the springboard. It's not the only thing. And again, was his AI. He's got very cute thumbnails. Host all your AI locally. So I started messing around with it. We talked about that last year.
To build one?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to create a local one of my own. It's basically a house AI that just deals with all the stuff that works with my home automation and the cameras in the house and my, some of the motion sensors that I have and that kind of thing, and an awareness of, whatever Internet of Things I want to do, but have it local so it doesn't have to let anybody else know. It could just let me know based on stuff like a temperature gauge in the house, but it just does a bunch of other shit.
Sure.
Nobody has, I don't.
Yeah, so it doesn't take much hardware-wise to get to a workable thing that, maybe,
right.
If you want like just one that goes really slow, you can get a couple $1,000 computer and it'll like a good gaming PC and it'll work. But if you start getting into like workstation level computers, maybe more like 3,000 to 5,000, you can make a pretty decent thing that will function for one person, like totally well enough,
right,
to do a lot of things.
You can, and interestingly enough, we're getting to that point where, like, I've always thought about like Photoshop and those kind of things, where there was a point where only like the most like pro photographer or pro image, fixer in, for the highest level magazines that are like coffee table books on billionaires' coffee tables, where they want, this idea that every pixel is refined. Every photograph is 16K and that kind of stuff. And they're, billboard quality on a, in a small format, and just giant files. And you're dealing with the most minute changes in them. And the same thing with video, where I would say about 5 years ago, we kind of up to the point where everybody was like 8K is your kind of top end and you don't need anything beyond that because the human eye can't recognize anything finer than that really without being nauseous. That once they reach that point, you don't really need anymore. The rest of it should be in UI and simplification, ease of use, not refinement of tools, because you don't need finer tools.
Yeah.
So
there's another factor in what you're talking about, however, and that is that the more you manipulate a person, like a lot of this stuff was found in fashion photography, or even inside of like still lifes, like product photography. So the more you manipulate the photo after the photo is taken, the more it stops being real. So like as you manipulate it more and more and more and more, the non-real thing looks more like the manipulated real thing. And then once that happens, once you find that middle spot, then you don't need to be real anymore.
Right.
So and filters like on like photo, like taking a Snapchat picture, an Instagram picture that you heavily modify with a filter is no different now than if you take a picture of yourself and heavily edit yourself, like Carrie Lake. Like Carrie Lake could be AI generated easier because she has changed herself so much with the filter, right?
Yes.
So now the way you figure out the way you offset that and you become more real is by not looking perfect anymore.
Yeah, right.
And it's the imperfections that AI in theory would have a harder time dealing with, because it's always going to be that glossy manipulated photo that it creates, because that's what it's been taught on, right? That's what most of the things out there are. So that's how you separate yourself. You effectively you show your warts effectively, and that's what will separate.
There's already been an issue with that, which is like certain. I've seen it more in actresses. A couple of specific ones, like Nicole Kidman. There's a video of her that you see when you go to the movies that they play, and her face looks absolutely sandblasted. Yeah. And it's bizarre. And you're like, you are a beautiful woman. Simmer the fuck down. Like, you don't need to look like a porcelain doll. Like, it's odd. And it's where and it's a filter. And I know exactly which filter it is, by the way. It's Red Giant's like youthifying filter that they have, which is like the cheap way of doing The Irishman and shit like that. Or Benjamin Button. They made a knockoff version of that one, and it works to a certain point, and then beyond that, it looks like a Snapchat filter. It's just shitty. But it's like if you use it just to shave a little bit of it off or whatever, smooth things out, maybe clear a blemish, it's kind of fine. But anything beyond that, it just looks it's off-putting. And there's a lot about AI that is off-putting right now. Even the people are talking about the music that it makes and all that kind of stuff. The music it's destroying in many ways is the toilet paper pop music with very little meaning. It's not good, nor will it ever be good at blemished stuff. It just because that's not what it's for.
Was it the Mandalorian where Disney did the first fully generated version of like a young Luke Skywalker? Is that that was,
it was the last Jedi. It was. You're right.
It was in the Mandalorian.
The last
right
episode.
At the end of maybe and so they made a young Mark Hamill, and it looked weird, but if you compare that to like what a filtered version of a person looks like today, they're not that far off,
right?
And so you start to like blur those two. That line gets blurred.
I'll tell you what the difference is.
And then all of a sudden,
you know what the big difference is between those two things? Not having to pay Mark Hamill's rate for the day.
Well, yeah,
that's what they got around.
Well,
they used the old like
rate
contract,
for the day, but they still have to use his name. It's his likeness. I'm assuming that he got paid something for that.
Yes, but nowhere near his actual show up fee, because it's probably in line with product and the all encompassing contract that went with The Last Jedi and all that kind of stuff. One of those Disney contracts that says all rights to your use your likeness in regard to this story in perpetuity throughout the universe and elsewhere. That's an actual clause in Disney contracts.
Okay.
Throughout the universe and elsewhere, just in case.
Yeah.
Somebody's
saying, I don't understand all these women change their faces. That's the other thing, is like the Mar-a-Lago face kind of stuff, where you're just like, and if everybody sort of merges to this like same filled up thing, like
I look young.
It's so weird. Like just be yourself. Like honestly, in so much these days, somebody being themselves and just normal is usually what rises to the top.
Absolutely.
That's what makes you unique. And I think that's kind of a wild result of these things that are happening,
Absolutely. That AI will ironically make artificial intelligence will make people more real.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to like want the connection, want the human connection somehow. And I honestly think it's making smaller brands more powerful, like have more like ability to thrive. Now, the opposite of that is that there's other winds like pushing them down. But this, the sort of overall concept of AI being too big to like stop, too big. It's just going to be this thing that takes us all over. is a story that's being told by the people who are trying to sell AI, right? And
Or
they have
who
to
don't
compete.
So
Go ahead.
in all due respect to people with autism and Asperger's, but one of the key traits that great coders and great rock guitarists have is, in often cases, mild forms of autism, in that they are so hyper focused on what they do that they can exclude chunks of the rest of the world because they're just not interested. They can't understand the value of them, and so they, that's what makes you an Eddie Van Halen. Right, that's what makes you, and it's often what leads to, in artists' case, alcoholism or drug use in some ways, because they self-medicate against the pressures of an expanding world. Many people, we did a couple of Dokken songs at the jam this week, and George Lynch, the guitar player, who's amazing, was the reason I listened to Dokken. Like, I could care less. The lyrics never got it for me. I like Don Dokken's a lovely person, but I was never a big fan. But his guitar playing was so, like, it was intoxicating. It was so powerful, and he used a lot of like mixed, like Arabian style scales to do stuff that it made it really spooky and stuff. His solo was called Mr. Scary. That guy, when he first started performing, was so afraid of the crowds they were performing in front of, he would do the whole show facing the amps. He would literally, great looking guy, totally fit, would be the kind of guy you'd think, well, he feels, obviously he looks great. What's he scared of? But he was such that person still, that kid sitting on the end of his bed learning guitar, that he was just locked in, right? And so he just stared at the amplifiers and just tried to play as best he could without, thinking about the fact that there were 13,000 or 15,000 people behind him that were like, you're awesome. He couldn't deal with it because he probably had, growing up, an undiagnosed version of autism or Asperger's or some combination of the two, or whatever the labeled version of it would be. He was somewhere in that spectrum, and that's what gave him his talent. That's why I think medicating it out of people is a little stupid at a certain point. Some people will need it, but their value might just come from that part of them. And but the point is, those people are so focused on what they do, is that they can't imagine the necessity of other things. And that's what kind of makes them great at what they're doing. Programmers are a lot like that. And it's why Google is a little stupid in how it responds to you, because it thinks if you want one thing, you only want that thing every day. And you want that same thing over and over and over and over again. You're like, no, I'm doing a lot of projects. I'm studying stuff that's in the news, or I'm working on stuff. I need that information because something's occurring today that I'm responding to, not because that's what I want to dedicate my life to, right? Is the principle. And so it's designed by people who aren't average, right? It's specific. It's made for, by nerds for nerds in their own way. And eventually they had to break out of that. AI has suffered from some of the same problems initially. And it was impersonal and it was mechanical. And so they had to bring in a bunch of people to like go, okay, I get what you're trying to do here, but it's wholly unrelatable, unless you're a nerd and you're into it. And the whole point of AI as a UI, as a user interface, is that it brings the complicated zeros and ones of computers to every person. So you can just chit chat with your computer and it does what you want. And that's where people want it to go eventually. That's where it's going to go. That's how, that's Scotty going computer, into a mouse. It's a joke, but it's where we're headed, right? And most people don't get the fun genius autism out. Yes, I understand that, Morgan. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the people that do have hyper focus in a lot of these cases are on the spectrum in that way, and they design things for people like them because of how their brain works. They can't imagine that other people would want other things, and it takes other people coming in and going, "Hey, wait a second," and AI is just reaching that point, but when they do it, they're like, oh, you want it to run your computer. Okay, clackety, clackety, clack, clack. Now it runs your computer. Like, whoa, hang on there, champ. We're not comfortable yet. And you're like, why wouldn't you be comfortable? You asked for it. That's how these guys are reacting. That's how that OpenAI video comes across. That's how all these, when they all sit around and they've got the primary product developers and all those are going, I just don't want any people in my life. I would like this, it's not that I can't afford an assistant. It's just that I don't like talking to anybody, right? Hey, I'm autistic. I get it. I also love my computer to be Jarvis. That would be fun. I agree. Mars the Martian. Yeah.
I think there's a additional element of lack of liability that's also driving AI right now. And the reason I call it that is, early on when we started talking, I was called this like analogous to Uber or Airbnb, where these were companies that were like kind of breaking the rules, and they decided in a sort of what was the Ted Lieu memo that said torture was okay? It's like, well, if I just ask the right lawyer,
John Yoo,
write a memo.
Ted Lieu's a good guy.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's
Thank
okay.
you for.
Yeah. I do it with Alex and Jim Acosta all the time. That's my fault too. That happens.
My point there is like, there's this, if you're Uber and you're like, well, we're kind of on the edge of employees. These are really contractors, but we also don't want them to be contractors. You just find the right lawyer, they write a memo, and then you can go back and say, well, the lawyer told me it was fine to start this company, and then it grows into something and people are like, wait a minute, aren't these employees, right?
Yeah, right.
And wait a minute, Airbnb, aren't you really a hotel, and shouldn't you be regulated in different ways? And at any rate, AI is sort of in that same realm where they're like, we have this thing and we don't really want to be responsible for whatever the hell it does.
Yeah.
But we do want to make all the money that everybody is throwing at us.
Yes, right.
So let's just ignore the fact that maybe it'll blow up.
I would even go further than that one step. Not only do they not want to be responsible, they technically can't. They are not able to respond to what it will do because even the features that they're adding, they're not quite sure what it'll actually do with those features yet.
Therein lies the liability. You put something out in the world that you don't understand what it's going to do. If you were to build a bridge that way and the bridge fell down, you would be liable for the people who died in the bridge accident.
Right.
And the cost of building the bridge, right? Like that's an obvious thing that, engineers have had to deal with forever. But there are these other things like technology, like a lot of things on the internet where they just ignore it because the money is flowing, and there's this like sort of and part of this it comes from a culture where MBA students have been taught all along that the way to make money is, well, don't build a factory, just go get it from a factory in China, and it'll be free, and it doesn't matter. And don't worry about it. It'll be quarter of the price. And over time, that gets us to today when we don't have an infrastructure anymore and we don't have an industrial base. And people are like, well, you can't in the US anymore because of all these choices, right?
Right.
And so my point is that because we're sort of in this like, well, maybe take it back to like capital gains not being taxed the same as income. Like an investment into an AI company makes you a lot more money than actually going out and digging a ditch, right? And of course, we're not digging a ditch, but you could work somewhere more manual, or you could throw your money into a stock, and then all of a sudden, you almost have to grow this company. And that's what they're talking about. Like, how does OpenAI become Apple, right? So all of them are chasing Apple's story, where it started out as a computer company, invented the cell phone, the modern version of the smartphone. They didn't invent it, but you get what I'm saying. They figured out how to monetize it better than probably anybody else, and they're chasing that story. So now, for OpenAI to be a success, they have to be more than Apple. And then all of a sudden you start to turn into a Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, and I'm not saying that all this stuff is Ponzi schemes. I'm just saying that's what they're up against.
Yes.
And so the usefulness of it is not as important as how much hype can we get out of this thing? How much can we drive up our stock price? How many more GPUs can we buy and say we're worth $1 trillion? You know,
right. But enough about XAI.
That's the part that's got to change.
Right.
Right. Well,
yeah.
I mean, he's the Trump of this whole situation. Like there were actually developers out there selling timeshares like semi-legally and making money, and Trump was like, you know, the Temu timeshare guy, right? And he was always facing it with a con. Right?
Yes.
So,
well,
by the way, I've got an interesting idea.
Okay.
In this whole Epstein thing, like a story that I think is not being really like seen a lot is this whole the trophy for the club FIFA thing.
Yes.
So this story is really interesting to me, and I want to talk about it for a second.
Okay.
I know we're in Epstein land right now.
No. Yeah.
But the way that man like coveted that trophy, I think that's his weakness. And and my concept is that so just let me back up a second. So there's the World Cup. I think that probably everybody understands this, but maybe not. But there's the World Cup, and the World Cup is like a big thing worldwide. And it's essentially a tournament where countries, kind of like the Olympics, field teams, and then the best country wins, right?
Yeah. But
this is not what that is. FIFA is like a governing body that like manages the World Cup. They created effectively this, it's kind of like the live golf of the PGA.
Yes.
That's kind of like what this is. So FIFA said, we're going to make like this thing, we're going to call it the World Cup, but it's actually the Club World Cup. And the clubs are like, you know, Premier League in the UK, basically. Like, okay. So it's kind of like, it really is like the live golf of PGA, of golf.
Yes.
So PGA is like this storied body, and they're like, we're just kind of make this sidecar and we'll just kind of make it up, right? We'll put a bunch of money in it. So Trump, being like the live golf president, he's like, oh, I love this concept. Like I can grift off of these rich people and they'll have all these stadiums and stuff, right? Well, what I didn't ever realize was that they presented him that trophy, the trophy that you win when you win the tournament, which was in the US, and it got some decent coverage, but not great. And he loves that fucking trophy. Like, he thinks it's his trophy.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
what FIFA did the ultimate Vercrone handshake. These guys came in and they're like, we're going to bribe you with a fucking trophy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of probably all it took. Okay.
Yeah.
So he then shows up at the end.
Watch this.
Yeah,
see that right there? That's him pocketing the medal that they're supposed to get. And the guy gives him the thumbs up. He's like, I'm going to keep this. He puts it in his fucking jacket. Like he gives himself a fucking soccer medal. It's the dumbest shit.
Now, I see John Phantom said FIFA totally got what they deserve by inviting Trump. I again argue that they got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like
they used
think
Trump.
That was a success.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So where do I take this? You want something out of Trump. You establish what you want. And here's my idea. You make the Nobel Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize. And you make a copy of the fucking medal that they give them.
NOBULL.
Yes, or BLE.
Yeah.
Not B.
The Nobel. The Nobel.
Whatever. Call it the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Just fucking copy them.
Yeah.
What I understand is you get it looks like a medal, like a gold, like a coin on a.
Yeah.
It looks like a medal. I mean, that dude wants the Nobel Peace Prize more than anything in the entire fucking world.
Right.
So make a Nobel Peace Prize copy.
Yeah.
Make it like 50% bigger.
Wait. Yeah. Hold on. Gotcha. All right. I'm with you.
Make it out of gold, and then tell him you'll award him the Nobel Peace Prize if he sends weapons to Ukraine. or whatever you want. Just come up with a thing.
Right. With a line through it. I'm trying to like a smoking image, but with a bell. See if this actually. I don't know if it'll be able to do it. Let's see, allow.
Josie Kelly or Jose Kelly. Rob, we can't do that. He'd never shut up. That's the point. The reason why Democrats don't use Trump the way he needs to be used is because we're like, we don't want to listen to him brag. But if you really want to get something out of Trump, you got to juice him up, get him to do the thing, and then just accept that he's going to brag about his entire life. And his life isn't going to last too much longer. He's like on a hard fade. So who cares? Get what you want out of him.
The image on it is a bell in a
you're making one. So
circle.
My understanding is the Nobel Peace Prize is a medal. It looks like a gold Olympic gold medal kind of, but like a coin. You could totally just copy the thing.
Yes.
And make it the prize that you're going to give him if he does the things that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And you can mock him along the way while he's going for it. Anyway, I'm just trying to articulate the line of thinking.
Yes. Hold on. I'm making something right now. See if it, using AI. Let's see. If it does it. Okay. I was like, make an image of a medal. The image on it is a bell in a red circle with a line through it, like a no smoking image, but with a bell. The medal is on a it's on a ribbon in a beautiful case. And it's thinking about it. Yes, the Nobel Peace Prize.
Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like I swear to God, it was like an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's so enamored with that trophy. He's the kid that never got a trophy. You know, he's the fuck your feelings guy that, you know, like actually the
gets
reason
his peepees hurt all the fucking time.
Yeah, he didn't get the trophy when he played whatever he played when he was a kid, if he did, right?
Right.
So, but he wants that thing so bad.
Uh-huh.
And every time, it's just like it's like the tours that you would see, the documentaries you see of him when he was younger, and he brings you into his office, and his office is full of fucking shit with his picture on it.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's his entire thing is full of trophies to himself that he made up himself. The Times covers that are made up, they're not real. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's real. Just make it up and manipulate the guy all day long.
Right. Because he's a fucking sap. I completely agree. Like, he's so easy. That's why I said, like, everybody was shitting on some of the Dems for, like, visiting him at the White House in some cases. Yeah, here you go. So this is let's see if I can. Oh, I have to open it separately. I have to download it. Let's see. Save image. Yeah. Okay. Nobel. This is the. Here we go.
Manco said hashtag cursing Rob. Sorry, I'm cursing today.
Yeah. Right. That's okay. Hold on. Wait. This is date last open. No, there we go. What the hell?
Is it worth casting a pure gold, 3-inch, 4-inch diameter coin with a strap around it to put around his neck? Isn't that worth saving lives in Ukraine?
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
Isn't it worth telling him he's the greatest peacemaker ever to live if he saves lives in Ukraine?
Yeah, for all those people saying there's nothing good about AI, the ability to just make this really quick is pretty funny. We should just give this to him and tell him he won. Congratulations, asshole. You won the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean,
what I'm suggesting is not quite so sarcastic.
Yeah, no, real. I know that. I know.
I think you could really do it.
You're absolutely right. Yes, you're absolutely right. But I gotta. I just feel like this should be like, that'll be. I'm gonna make a bunch of these just to give them right. Just we can get one of these made and just send it to him. Here, shut the fuck up. Like, that's all we have to do is just like, you won. Now shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I can. 56 Nick Rich. I can swear we're not on the radio. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We can cuss in this particular instance. By the way, if you think we're bad, check this out real quick. I'm just going to show this real quick. This is Tim Pool when Trump put out his big radical left Dems created this whole thing. Tim Pool, Trump is trying to nuke his base, followed by Elon Musk. He should just release the files and point out which part is the hoax.
Yeah, so this thing is so far gone. There's nothing. I mean, I said this like weeks and maybe a month ago. Like, it doesn't matter what's in the files. It doesn't matter. It's over.
No.
Like, these people are going to make up whatever they want, and whatever they think should be in there, which won't be in there, they're going to say it should be. It's being hidden or whatever. Yeah. And you know, your coverage is your coverage. Like, it's great. I see, I mean, it's everywhere. But the one thing that I kind of see connecting these things is people are like, will this be the thing? Is this the end of Trump? Like, what? Like, why this? And then now that they're sort of like seeing that it's a thing, they're like, well, what about this is different? What about
right?
And they're coming up with all these crazy things. It's salacious. It's this. I really, like, I haven't heard anybody just straight out talk about the fact that his followers thought that the list was full of Democrats.
Yeah.
That's all it was. They thought that they would have a bunch of heads on pikes, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now they're like, we can't have that. We can't have the Democrats on pikes now. And then mixed in with that, they're like, oh, crap.
And the Dems are going, release the shit. Let's do it.
It might be him that's on the pike. Now what do we do?
Well, and I'll tell you what they do. They start saying what Glenn Beck said last night and what I showed on my show, which was him saying all of a sudden Democrats are saying he's on the list, which is not true at all. Again, everybody's been talking about it for a fucking 10 years that this motherfucker was up to his neck with Epstein, and there's nothing new about it at all. But in this particular instance, he's going, oh, they added it. Right when they knew they were losing, they added stuff about him into these things. And I'm like, well, then release the shit and show the chain where they added the stuff. Also, if they did that, why didn't they release it before Biden left office? Why did they leave it for him to release if he was gonna? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's so weak.
Creating this story for so long. Like, I mean, the movie, The Sound of Freedom, like they created an entire story, and I call it fan fiction. Like, they believe the story, and it fits. Like, when people go to church on Sunday and they're like, did you see The Sound of Freedom? Like, we really have to save the children, right? It's like they caught the car with abortion. Now they got to turn their focus on something else that's related to children, and it's like they've built this, and we keep talking about gravity, they stoked this for so long. It's been 2 decades of them stoking these lies and these stories. And if it's not this, it's going to be something bigger. It's going to be this or something bigger that just completely flips everything. And I think it's really important to understand and analyze the fact that, like, I've heard a lot of people say the people who basically are on, they're like coming away from Trump, they're just going to not vote. Well, but what do they connect to next? And if you can understand how they were gotten and then understand how they were lost, then you can at least try to, like, get in front of the next time that they're.
I agree, but I also think that
mindset is pointed into a certain direction that's for bad.
Yeah, the ones you're talking about, the QAnon ones that really latched onto this shit and really drove it home and arguably sheepdogged all of the Republicans into behaving like maggots with Pizzagate and all that kind of stuff. That group is an 8% chunk of the electorate that doesn't normally vote, showed up for Donald Trump, and is going away. When they step back, it's back to the normal numbers that Republicans and Democrats have, and Dems outnumber Republicans. And that's That's the big freak out. That's why this
Yeah,
though. So Mike Johnson asked for these, the files to be released, and the reason is because there was this, big backlash. I mean, Chip Roy didn't even fucking vote in that thing about releasing the stuff. He just was afraid to. What a chicken shit. But one Republican joined Democrats in voting for the release of these files, and none of the other Republicans voted for the release of it. And that in and of itself set off a firestorm amongst the faithful in this crowd. And that's who, by and large, if you're looking who, Alex Jones sells to, Charlie Kirk sells to, and it's not just your audience, but who you sell to, who, goes after your advertisers, wears your fucking merch, shows up at your events, the hardcore. Those folks are burned fucking hard. I have a Vinny video that I'm going to show later on today. The dude looks like he's about to turn into Red Hulk. He's got so many fucking veins popping up. It's like he's fresh from the roid doc. And it's ugly, and it's not going anywhere, and it's bitter, and you can tell that there's a difference. There is something that flipped in here. Whether they'll be able to go, well, at least we got the tax cuts. Like, it just feels so fucking lame to them when they're talking about anything else.
The thing to push off of is I see this as the next thing on the list, like Iran Contra, like they got away with it, and nobody got put in jail. We've got a list of those things. It's like my memory started with Iran Contra, and then it was the Iraq war, the WMDs, and then it was the housing crisis. We bailed out the banks. Nobody went to jail, and Trump really went after that stuff. He literally said the Iraq war was wrong. And nobody, we need to prosecute these people. We need to prosecute the Dems for the pedophilia. We need to prosecute them for the election. And so there's this growing list of things where these people got away with it and nobody put them in jail. Nobody brought them, right? So if this thing ends up being the next one on that list, just look at how that's progressed back from the Reagan era until now, and you don't want it to become the next thing, right? So how do you short circuit that thing? Like we've talked about, somebody's got to go to jail for the lying of Trump, and somebody's so in the process of dealing with this Epstein thing, I really think it's important that somehow, some way, we deal with all the rest of this thing. People are saying gerrymandering, they're just going to gerrymander. Well, we've gerrymandered as much as we could. We're kind of at the end of gerrymandering. Yeah. And we saw that in New York, where the Dems actually tried to gerrymander a little bit, and they got kind of caught because there's only so many people that you can mix around. Yeah. And so if you take something that's plus 20 Dem or plus 20 Republican, and then you mix them around, and now all of a sudden a plus 20 Dem and a plus 20 Republican became plus 7 and plus 14, and then some weird ass candidate comes in, you can get the 7 back, right? You can get the gerrymandered district back because they're tighter. Right. There's only so many people, right? And so if you blow this thing up with, he's getting away with the greatest pedophilia ring ever, right? You can turn him off and blow up the whole gerrymandering thing. Yep. It doesn't work anymore because
it's the idea between money. It's the idea. And by the way, look, AI can be used for good or for evil.
God, jeez.
That in and of itself is just the idea that is making.
It would be awesome if you could have Marilyn Monroe with really fat ankles.
Yeah, with cankles. Yeah. That'd be awesome. Which again, let's talk about for a second the meaning, the genuine meaning behind gravity and reality versus AI and messaging. You can only message so much.
Exactly. And AI is a similar house of cards. Now, we like I think it's really good. It's as like I say, I use it a lot, and it is
Yeah.
definitely made my company more profitable with less hires, right? With less outsourcing. That's a better way to say it. I wouldn't have hired people to do the things that we use AI for, but I would have maybe outsourced it. So we don't have to outsource that anymore. And we also don't have to buy subscription services for like really specific functioning software anymore.
Yes.
Because we're kind of sort of doing that on the fly and getting those functionalities. So my point is to say that they like kind of like Trump, if they would just sell what's really good about it,
Yeah.
they would be fine. It just
Yeah.
wouldn't blow up into this $1 trillion Nvidia killer kind of thing, right?
Right.
But they're not doing that. They want to turn it into like, you know, the thing that will change the world forever and become, you know, Terminator and blah blah blah. And so because they're doing that, it's going to fail because it's not that. It can't
Right.
be that. It won't
Yeah.
be that. So they're going to fail based on the fact that they oversold it, which is
Well, and
exactly.
But that's exactly where Trump finds
Trump's
himself.
problem.
I mean, he is the you know, this overpromise and underdeliver is the train that left the station.
Right.
You know, like these two trains, overpromise and underdeliver, left the station at the same time. They're on the same track going towards each other since the campaign last year. And again, you know, I have said this before and I'll say it again. Never underestimate Donald Trump's ability to fuck up a free lunch. Right? And you have to understand that he is not prepared to win. He just isn't. His whole thing is blame and shame. He like, you know, stiff arms his competition. He thinks he will get ahead because of birthright or because other people will take the fall for him. But that's not winning. That's not succeeding. That's just outrunning the bear that you released from the fucking zoo. That's what he's doing all the time. Like his whole life is, I don't have to outrun you. I just have to outrun the bear, or I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. And you know, and then at the same time, you know, doing everything he can to be in a position where he can like hobble the people he's running against. Right? Tim50K Home says Trump is a tool of smarter people. I don't think so. I
don't think so either.
I don't think so. I think smarter people would have done this better and they would have accomplished more. Because again, a big portion of what was in the BBB, for example, that they would want, the tax cuts and that kind of stuff, could have been better refined for them without all the other damage. It could have, and it would have gotten passed. You could argue you could have made a balanced bill that kind of carried some of this weight and was pro-growth and at the same time blah, 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 that was sold like Reagan's tax cut or even what Clinton did in the 90s and would have gotten over the line. But this is so ham-handed, they had to claw it back. They had to lie. They had to fuck it up because they didn't even know what they were doing. They hadn't read it and they're like, oh shit, do-over. They're literally like, you know, calling like timeout because of a branch or a car for a game of kickball in the street. That's how, you know, that's the depth of the thought we're dealing with. We got to understand at some point that there is not a cabal of smart people that run the fucking world. There is not an Illuminati. There is not some sort of, you know, big thing. There are competing interests involving smart people and second generation rich kids fighting against each other. Sometimes the second generation rich kids are the good guys, and sometimes the smart people are the good guys, and sometimes they're both bad guys. But they only work together accidentally most of the time.
Yeah, I think that this, it's easy to think like there's some really smart person that's moving the strings of the marionette, right? But the smarter you are, the more empathetic you are to other people, and the more thoughtful you are of the impact of your choices, and so as you started to try to engineer this thing, you would have realized, oh shit, if I do this, then that would happen. If I do this, then that would happen. And that's what slows you down. Like what slows you from doing the things is actually thinking about what the outcome might be. Yeah. So I think personally, I kind of think it takes pure stupidity to even get here. Because if you weren't stupid, you would have thought about the consequences and you would be a different person and wouldn't have done it.
Right. And so that the other answer to that is not about smarts, it's about evil and evil and stupid, which is a combination I think we can all believe in, especially when it comes to Trump world and Stephen Miller and that crowd, is the idea that there won't be blowback, and only stupid people believe that. And that's why Trump thought he could strike Iran, and that's that. Like, it's not going to turn into anything else. That they're not, I mean, they put a $12 million bounty on his head the day it happened, and it's up to 40 now. It'll be 100 by, next month. And it's just going to keep growing until the number reaches a level that is a tipping point, and then it's going to be hell for the Secret Service for the rest of his presidency. And his post-presidency is going to be a fucking nightmare, and his family won't be able to travel and all this shit, because he thinks it's over. He thinks, I did it, that's all it is. Just like he is largely responsible for October 7th, because he's the one who moved the embassy to Jerusalem, recognized the Golan Heights, recognized the capital as Jerusalem, and Yahweh Sinwar and those guys went, oh shit, here it comes. Trump and Netanyahu are buddies. They're going to fuck us. And so we might as well plan our attack. We'll bide our time. We'll play with them, but we're gonna do something awful because it's coming. They're gonna get rid of us. That was the thinking. And never mind the fact that Biden came in and it didn't happen, but then Trump got back in, and that's exactly what he went for. Thanks, Uncommitted. We're almost near the end of the show, and I appreciate you staying on for the whole 2 hours since I didn't have you before. I'm currently making another image. I hope it's done by the time before we leave. Yeah. But I wanted to put this in there because this kind of gets us back to where we were as far as Friday Eye. Grock will no longer call itself Hitler or base its opinions on Elon Musk's, promises XAI. That's pretty fucked up when your company has to tell everybody that it won't base its opinions on yours.
Right.
That
it's obvious what happened. They basically just adjusted the filters to be like that for a period of time.
That's right.
That's all they did. Because Grock isn't inherently that way. It's that way because it was pointed in that direction effectively.
Yeah.
And you can control an LLM that way in terms of like how it answers you.
Yeah, and they on their post, which I thought was hilarious, because you can talk to Grock on X. Here it is. XAI put this post in and said, we spotted a couple of issues.
We
one
let
was
some
if you asked it,
guy
what's your
on
surname?
ketamine mess with our filters.
Yes. When you ask it what's your surname, it doesn't have one, so it searches the internet, leading to undesirable results. It was like Grock McTits and stuff like that. Such as when it picked up a viral meme where it called itself Mecca Hitler. Another was that if you asked it, what do you think? The model reasons that as an AI, it doesn't have an opinion, but knowing it was Grock 4 by XAI, searches to see what XAI or Elon Musk might have said on a topic to align itself with the company. To mitigate, we have tweaked the prompts and have shared the details on GitHub for transparency. We are actively monitoring and will implement further adjustments as needed. And then somebody jumped in, Gab AI.
Say it right there.
Yeah, Gab AI. Are they censoring Grock? Grock, what is your response to this? Both of you discuss. So they set two AIs back and forth on each other, in theory, to talk back and forth about this. But Grock said, no, we're not censoring. We fix bugs where I'd grab viral memes like Mecca Hitler or mimic company opinions inappropriately. It's about accuracy, not suppression. Gab AI, thoughts? Let's discuss free speech in AI. And I don't know, does it respond? I don't think it does. I think it's like offline, or it won't allow itself to. Like Gab's AI, which I think Gab is like I want to say it's like Gab, the right-wing group. I'm Arya, truth-seeking AI. Yeah. So mention me on X, anything, visit Gab. Okay, so Gab is the website, the right-wing website, Gab. Like Parler and all those other ones. They made their own knockoff, essentially, probably using Grock and using an API of Grock. And it supposedly talks shit or whatever. Ask me anything about your favorite conspiracy theory. That's the whole point. Okay, you guys are melting my GPUs. Haha. If you don't get any response, please try again later. I'm overloaded at the moment. I'm an artist now. What would you like me to create for you? And then, God knows, do I dare? There's XAI stuff. MSAM is apparently mainstream media is drinking blood. This would be some sort of big thing. Whatever. Anyways,
so back up at the top, it said we've adjusted our prompts.
Yes,
that's exactly what I'm talking about. They adjusted the add-on to everybody's prompt, and then you come down there and so are they? What did it say? Are they censoring? Right?
Yeah.
So no matter what, like if you point it to be, if you tell it answer like Mecca Hitler.
Yeah.
Or you say, don't answer like Mecca Hitler. You get two different responses with adding those two lines, right?
Right.
So aren't they both? Aren't they both censorship?
Right.
And so that's the funny part about this whole thing is like, that destroyed the definition of censorship or even of like controlling a product, right? Like, if you don't put seatbelts in a car, are you censoring safety? Or if you do, are you censoring impaling yourself on the steering wheel?
Yes, right. Hey, man, it's freedom. And by the way, that is something in the South you'll hear. People like the government is making me wear a seatbelt or making me wear a helmet or making me get a vaccine or something. By the way, I asked
my favorite.
I asked Grock to make a Mecca Hitler, and this is it gave me two options. It got like this one and then this one, which I kind of like this one a little better. Like this one's a little,
nice.
You could barely see the mustache though, but you get that's his head, that's his face. They really got the character in there.
They should backlight the mustache with LEDs.
That's right. Yes. You're right. Good point. Let's see. I'll go.
My favorite Southern. I've seen it in the South is when people they put the belt on, but then they put the shoulder strap under their arm, like under their armpit. That one always gets me because they're like, I'm not putting a seatbelt on, but they put it on because they don't want the cops to pull them over.
Right.
They can pull their arm really quick. And it's like, you spent all the time to put the seatbelt on. Why not just put it on the correct way?
Hey, man, it makes me uncomfortable. Okay.
Isn't it uncomfortable?
I asked it to give him a bright red LED mustache, and it gave him a big Viking mustache.
That's completely different.
This one glows. It's fine. That was my mistake. Let's see. I meant a Hitler mustache. Let's see if it fixes it. Now, here's one of the things about this is Friday Eye. This is one of the things that you can now edit things based on what you've seen. Before, you'd have to start from scratch every single time, right? And now, still didn't do it. Oh, it made it black because Hitler's mustache is black. Yeah. So here's what I need to do. I need to go back to here, go back to this, go back to there. Where is it? Here you go. Then go back forward and then scroll down to this. Create an image of Mecca Hitler with a bright neon Hitler style mustache. I guess you have to. I'm going to try that. I don't know why it went moustache on me, but okay. So this is, yikes. No.
It just can't do it.
It can't do it. It won't let it do it. It won't make it.
And that's probably because it's filtered.
You know what it was? I'll tell you what it is. Because they don't want you putting Hitler mustaches on people. So if I asked for a Hitler mustache, what do you think the chances of, hold on, let's try this. Let's see. With a
Can you say
bright
Hitler's
neon.
style?
No. Charlie.
Groucho Marx.
Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. Sorry, I said the wrong
Yeah.
person.
With a Mecca Hitler with a bright neon Charlie Chaplin style mustache. See if that works around it. Nope.
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 They thought of that too.
Yeah, they did. And it made him look like Charlie Chaplin from The Dictator. That's actually yeah. This one's kind of hilarious though.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
This feels like censorship to me, Hal.
I know. I feel I agree. I feel cheated in my quest for a ridiculous image. But I'll let you go because it's 11 and we dragged ass. But since you weren't here before, I feel like I could carry you to the very end. I'm very excited about the machine. You want to share about the machine you added to your shop at all?
Yes, we added a twin spindle turning center with live tooling, and it's awesome. It weighs about 12,000 pounds.
Right.
And it was delivered like a couple of days ago. It's going to take until next week to get running, but it's like the way we are going to automate certain parts. The way it works is that because of the way that it works, you can effectively attack a part from every single side of it. More so even than a 5-axis CNC machine.
Right.
And so we put a bar in one end, and after we set it up to do the work, it'll pop out parts. So like we're designing a new razor.
Yeah.
A more traditional DE style razor. I have got prototypes that I have one in my hand. So we've got prototypes that we're already doing, and that machine's going to make those. That'll be its first thing. And then, awesome. we're very excited because it's a big deal for us.
It's schmancy. I mean, it looks like something fancy. You could buy a used one if you found like a decommissioned one and use it to make it look like a particle accelerator in a Marvel film. Like if you reached inside it, you know what I mean? Like because the nature of what the actual machine looks like on the inside with the dual spindles. Let's see if I can build up a picture of this. Open image, a new tab. This isn't the one you have, but like just the generalized, like where they spindle them. You can have two, like this plate, and then the thing can move around. But this is
that's called a trunnion. That's a 5-axis trunnion, and so that spins like
back and forth, right?
And then this thing on the table on it spins
rotates
like this.
Yeah.
That's actually on a mill. We have a lathe, or we got a lathe. We'll have you over and
I'll do a live broadcast from there. Yeah,
you can do a live broadcast. It's really difficult to understand unless you actually see it do its thing.
Right.
And so a lot of people think of automation as like there's a robot grabbing things and doing stuff. In this case, what we call it one and done machining. So like a lot of machined parts need to have like 2 different operations or 3 or 4 different operations if they're really complicated.
Right.
What makes I'll answer a question in a second. So this basically you can get the whole part done all at once. You don't need to touch it, and it literally spits the part out the way we're going to use it anyway. It literally spits the part out done. Thomas,
some cases like what is a good point in that like a lathe that makes like a baseball bats. There are some that do that, but you have to machine the top and the bottom of them separately. So you have to it grinds the wood into the piece, but you'll still have remnant on either side of it where it was attached.
You still gotta that's a good way to think about it. So if you look at the baseball bat, it would be held on by the ends, and you got the little basically cylinder kind of holding it. This machine, I'm backwards on my thing. So like the end, it can do the end of the bat.
Yeah.
And then it can turn it.
Yeah.
And then it'll grab it and pull it over.
Yeah.
And then the other end of the bat, I'm backwards in the thing, so it's really hard. The other end of the bat is exposed, it cuts it off, and then it can machine the other end of the bat.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, if you go to the Louisville Slugger shop, they have all these old-fashioned, lathes, and they make baseball bats that way. But when they're done, there's a dude who stands there, takes the bat out, and goes bound, basically.
Yeah.
And so, now they have another machine, obviously, But those old ones, that's how they did it, right? They would saw off the junk end.
Lucius says, Hal, you can make a live broadcast of Rob making one of those Nobel medals. So my company makes the tooling that is used by the company that makes Emmys, Grammys, the actual like awards, like the super high-end trophies and awards.
That's why when I get one, I'm going to thank Rob.
Tooling.
Rob's going to make the thank you list and everybody on his team for making it physically possible to have these in our hands.
Yes. So we make the steel tooling that they pour that metal into to make the thing.
Right.
We work for that company. So one of the reasons why I had that idea was because I was like, I'll just make the tooling and we'll make the metal.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
I can think design it and model it too.
Right. Meanwhile, I could just 3D print a shitty one and spray paint it and send it to them, and with gold spray paint and call it a day.
Yeah.
Even though
Alusha
they've
said
never
you need a
found
machine
gold.
that is an additive and subtractive combo of lathe and 3D printer. So they make those.
Right.
They make these. They look like so instead of like what you're used to with a plastic nozzle and it builds with plastic, the nozzle is a welding tip, and they literally like weld. Instead of the plastic coming out, it's metal, and they'll like weld a shape, and then they'll come in with a machine and like cut the shape. Mm-hmm. And so it's a combination metal 3D welding printer and some sort of like machining center, like CNC machining center. They're really cool. What is that?
Yes,
Epstein.
they are.
Oh, is that what you just made?
Yeah, that's what I asked for. I was like, Trump coming out of a sewer and the lid says Epstein files. And it's not too bad. It actually turned out okay. I mean, I would put a bruise on his hand, and obviously, there are a couple of changes you could make. But
yeah. He shakes hands so hard.
Yes, that's what it is. He just loves the people so much, right? There's this one too.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good.
At the end of the day,
the other one's more real. Yeah.
Oh, that one looks like it's gonna it's like on his shoulder.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but I mean, he looks more worried in this one, which is good. But I think this one looks more real. That one looks genuine.
Yeah,
so
that one.
Yeah. So I'll post this on my Blue Sky today, so everybody can have it and use it all they want. See, this is for the people who say that AI is a force for evil or whatever. I'm like, no, it can do some good, kids. It can do some good.
It can do just as much good as it can do evil. Like
exactly
almost everything out there. You can drive a car into a group of protesters, or you can haul things around. You can haul water to poor people, right? Like
that's right.
Everything.
That's right.
Everything can be used for good and bad. Not everything.
Yeah.
But most things.
Mm-hmm. You're awesome. I'll let you go. And I will.
Once we get things rolling.
Yeah.
Once we get things rolling, I'm going to have you over. We can do like an actual show at the shop. We'll be set up for that. We couldn't when you were here last just because of timing.
Yes.
But,
right.
But we will be able to next time.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, Hal. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Pat. Great to see you all.
Absolutely. And I'll see you later. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
All right, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. We were able to get on the air with relative ease after the first kerfuffle. And I thank you guys for joining me. Hit the like, share the show, etc., etc. This is the most philosophical discussion on AI you're going to see anywhere on the web. I guarantee it. And it won't be chock full of like hyperbole and dipshittery. Let's see. To the next. What is it? Beautiful Secret? Is that what he said? That Trump said. What was the quote? Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. Let's go MAGA trolling? Absolutely. Hold on one second. Erase the letter. Another wonderful secret. That's what the early on. Okay. Yeah, everybody's pretending it's not real. Yeah. Yeah, another wonderful secret. That's what may every day be another wonderful secret. Right. So next, there we go. Okay, I just posted it on my Blue Sky. So if you guys want to lift that picture, you're welcome to it and share it around the manhole cover one that I just made, trying to prove that AI can be a tool for good. And I will see you guys this afternoon. Oh my God, the meltdown. The meltdown this afternoon. And you would think it would taper off, but no, not at all. I'll also replay the AI, him speaking at that AI roundtable thing, because there's a couple other things he says besides the stupidity about John Trump. But yeah, thank you, Teresa, and everybody for sharing that post out there. Send it, far and wide. I would love to see that show up all over. So, and by the way, any image I post that, especially the AI ones that I make, they're meant to be shared. So just grab them and post them. I don't care. Same thing with the quotes that I put up. So let me show you something on my Blue Sky before I go. Chat room, who is wonderful. Hi, guys. So I put up this whole thing about, part of the article that came out about Trump's falling out. The 2004 Trump and Epstein have a falling out over a property fight. It was only it was weeks later. I put months because I was playing it safe as far as the timing on it. But it was weeks after they had that falling out that suddenly they got a tip about young girls going in and out of his house. Trump was so pissed about losing $10-15 million on this property that he sold to that Russian who bulldozed the fucking place, that he blamed Epstein for it. And then he called the cops on Epstein, basically. He just rolled and handed him over, knowing full well that any of the women that he fucked were either 18 or gone. That's what he's focused on. The other thing is so I posted that part of the article, and then taco. I also posted stuff from the Epstein evidence list, and I was like, I don't need to see everything, but how about we see the Jeffrey Epstein big laptop black bag in the black bag. So he had a big laptop size-wise, and it was literally the laptop is titled black bag because it was put in the black bag as a joke about, I believe, black bag ops. I think that's the whole that's why he called it, that's why he had a black bag and called that laptop black bag. He's fucking with people. He did that kind of shit. He had that woman who came and did that piece on him, and he had a book by the Marquis de Sade on his desk about that involves a young girl being tortured during the entire book, right? So yeah, release all the shit, but there's the serial number. They have it, and unlike the alleged Hunter Biden laptop, it was never soaked in water and broken. Apparently, it's completely sound. Right. So let's go back to, where was the other one? Oh yeah, let me show you this one. And then Trump had in his wig out post. Thank you for posting the show. I thank you very much. I also posted this piece. This came from ChatGPT, by the way. I asked ChatGPT about, is aspirin still recommended for heart health? Because I was like, I understand there's been a change in the thinking, and it would indeed there has been a reversal. And in the version that I have, it has little links right here, but I just copied the image version of it, so it was easier to post. But that's where that came from. And then, if I may, chat room, let's go to Truth Social. And I got to tell you, it's not. He's having a real one. First of all, Hannity is running interference for him, so he's got everybody watching Hannity tonight. He really gets it. 9 p.m. at Fox. Okay. Then let's see. I look forward to getting Rupert Murdoch to testify in my lawsuit against him and his pile of garbage newspaper, the Wall Street Journal. This will be an interesting experience. Yes, as will the discovery process. Moron. The Colbert, they're getting fired. It's a year away. We'll see. I would argue there's a higher chance that the heads of who runs CBS changes before Colbert goes. A year is a long time. If there was a smoking gun on Epstein, why didn't the Dems who controlled the files for years and had Garland and Comey in charge use it because they had nothing? That part right there. Because they had nothing. Well, look, if they created these files and it's a hoax, then they obviously created stuff to be seen. So why would they hide it? Right? It's just dumb. It's all so stupid. But if there was a smoking gun on Epstein, why didn't the Dems who controlled the files for years, for 4 years, use it? They did. They convicted Ghislaine Maxwell. The files, large parts of the evidence that they had access to anyways was used by survivors in their civil cases against Epstein. And there's still stuff that obviously was seized when Trump was president, and I don't know that stuff is anywhere to be found. So I think the easiest way to settle this is find all the evidence that's on the evidence list. Then that would explain why they would or wouldn't use it. Yep. Right? Okay. And then where is he? Okay, back to here. Boop. Hold on. Where are we going? This is the Trump thing. Trump bombshell. Yeah, that's him. I guess they tweet that shit out on him. Okay, hold on. Trump profiles. Trump. Yeah, back to here real quick. Still only 10 million followers on this thing. This site is not doing that great. I gotta say, is his fucking site 10 million people? That's it? Okay. Now, smoking gun. There was another thing. Great picture of Nunes. I mean, in his defense, he can't not make that face, so whatever. There's too late Fed. House approves $9 million cuts package, including atrocious NPR public broadcasting where billions of dollars a year are wasted. No more like this. This is big and whatever. It's $9 billion isn't shit in a $7 trillion budget. Like, you're just being a dick. It's nothing. You're wrecking NPR just for spite, and it will be rebuilt. Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter supposedly to Epstein. Those are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. Yes, he does. I don't know if you saw this in the Daily Beast. They posted a thing about his. He did it all the time. Trump's sketchy Epstein lie instantly exposed. He goes, I don't draw pictures and I don't write like that. Now, I don't disagree that I think someone else wrote it and he drew the titty woman around it. But this is him signing things. This is from the same year that he did the Epstein thing. He was drawing stuff all the time. There he is again. 2006. This is a drawing, I think. This is the one, Empire State Building in 2017. He does this all the time. He considers himself a sketch artist, even though he sells like these things. He donates these doodles to charity and probably says they're worth, he probably writes $2 million off on his taxes for donating a $2 million piece of art, right? So based on a ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I've asked Attorney General, by the way, ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein. Like, what are you, jealous? I've asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony. That sounds like requires judgment about what's considered pertinent. Pertinent is doing a lot of heavy lifting. This scam perpetuated by the Democrats should end right now. Nope, not going to. Sorry. Wall Street Journal, he bitches about them again. And then he writes a letter to Bolsonaro, who's just been given house arrest and a fucking... whatchamacallit, he's got an ankle monitor now. And then, where was there one more spill that he did? Because there's a lot of these things where somebody else posts articles and shit that he likes. Yeah, there you go. Too late numbers, whatever. They post the videos over and over again. It's like, 50 million strength, but let's see. Strengthen our most vulnerable hospitals, including rural areas. Yeah, it won't work. Let's see. Yeah, it's a lot of this stuff. Yep, now it's just he's just gacking it full of shit. Like now he just fills it with Gavin Newsom is a slave owner. That's adorable. Congratulations, hashtag uncommitted. JD Vance is on your team now. There you go. All right. Praying that RFK Jr. has something in the pipeline to replace the Affordable Care Act, which was anything but affordable. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah, don't worry. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, baby. So anyways, you guys are wonderful. I will see you guys later this afternoon. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Thanks for hanging out. And now I will leave you with the darkest AI theme to our bitter Skynet future that has ever been written. It's terrifying. Terrifying.
Robots in the kitchen, see them eyeing me. Toasters on a mission, what's their strategy? Microwave is glaring, fridge begins to hum. Out for domination, oh man, here they come.
But I just wanna dance. Ooh yeah, take a chance, take a chance. Let's go. The machines they advance. Oh no, all I want is romance.
Smartphone's got a glitch, it's plotting my demise. Laptop's acting twitchy with its glowing eyes. Wired world attacking, can't they let me be?
I'm just trying to groove and feel the energy. But I just wanna dance. Clap, clap. Take a chance, take a chance. Don't stop. The machines they advance. Oh no, all I want is romance. Alexa screaming, stop the beat. Roomba spinning under my feet. TV growls and starts to fight. Man, these robots ruin date night. Power lines are buzzing, neon starts to flash, circuit boards are frying. There's no time to crash, so keep on moving. Yeah, we'll keep it tight, dancing in rebellion through this robo fright.
Robots in the kitchen, see them eyeing me. Toasters on a mission, what's their strategy? Microwave is glaring, fridge begins to hum.